Hey, I was asked to do a little video of what Dadeville means to me. And although you would think it would be easy for me, I kind of sat on it for a while, and I've seen Britt's and my brothers, and so I was like, let's just go ahead and get this done. Well, I guess first of all, just family roots with me. Um, both of my parents graduated from Dadeville, along with like all my aunts and uncles, Uncle Doug and Aunt Annice, Hal, Hamp, Jessica, Kathy, Mama. All went to Dadeville. So I grew up just looking at the yearbooks at my Mimi's house, going through all the yearbooks, idolizing, kind of like my Aunt Jessica's era in the 80s. I was a smaller child, so being around them and just wanting to be kind of, like them. And then going through the yearbook and just seeing all the people who were my teachers, and Miss Gravitt and Miss Pageant, and like so many others that had graduated there, and then they became teachers and taught either at the high school or at the elementary school. I always thought was like super neat, and it just meant a lot to me. And then your parents just kind of growing up with them, but always just hearing stories from everybody. I really, truly could not wait to get into the high school. I couldn't wait to walk the same halls as Mom and Daddy. And I couldn't wait to you just kept hearing, don't step on the D, things like that, and just the traditions and stuff. And so then, you get there and those things are still alive. Those traditions are still alive. And it meant more, it meant a lot. And then, as far as what it felt like to me and how I can explain it is that growing up, I thought everybody that was in the school system at that time was from Dadeville. And that's just what I thought. I didn't know until I was older that they weren't from Dadeville. And the reason why is because they were so invested in the community and everything that we did and what the kids were doing at the schools. And so my teachers and coaches were completely invested in everything that we did. And so I had no idea that they were from somewhere else. And so the first person that comes to mind when I think about that is Miss Vicki Waters. She taught chemistry with me, and then she was one of my JV cheer coaches. And so, but she loved basketball. Now, she loved football, but she loved basketball season and loved girls basketball. Big fan of them. And she would fire us up. She would just lie about something that the rivals had said, or she would make up something to just get us all fired up and mad to play a game or cheer for a game or something. She kept that spark, that pride, that sense of pride alive in us, no matter if we were having a winning season or a losing season. So she really taught me a huge sense of school spirit and school pride. Also, my cheer coaches were Sharon Dollar, and she taught as well. And then Miss Langley was our cheer coach as well, and she taught us PE at the elementary school growing up. And they were just huge role models. Sharon Dollar and Miss Langley were from Dadeville, and so they taught us and passed down all the traditions and how we did things. And so that was super important. And then I played basketball for a span, and I was coached by Roger Matt Caldwell. And junior high, and he was fire. He just was gritty, fundamentally sound. He really taught me, I think he's the one who really taught me to be a competitor and to fight. Just fight to win, fight to lose, but just fight. And that if somebody was going to beat you, they had to beat you on your best day. And so he was the one who really taught me to be a competitor. Mr. Childers, best principal under God's green earth. He was everything that we needed as kids and teenagers. He was super firm. He wasn't gonna lie to you. No BS. He was very firm. But he loved you so much, and you knew that everything that he said or disciplined you was like a father. And our parents knew it was like a father. And I just think that that was super important. You didn't want to disappoint him. You wanted to play for him, and you wanted to play for Roger Mack. You just wanted to do good for them. And then Richard White, Coach White, was my softball coach. And he is the one who taught me that nothing is owed to you and everything is earned. He was like a father to me. Him and Miss White were very important to me. You know, he was always the one, and I love that he was the football coach at the same time. And I always felt like he coached us harder than he coached the boys. I'm telling you, he was rough, but he pulled so much out of us. And he really wanted us to play to our top ability, and he just wouldn't accept anything else. And so when I got to college and played softball for Southern Union, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you, the coach was nothing to me. I mean, I had been coached by Richard White, and so she did not shake me at all. She was a great coach, but if she thought, you know, I wasn't going to be intimidated, so he had already fixed that for me, and so I wasn't going to be intimidated. And so all of that, there's so many though. I mean, Miss Pageant, you know, Margaret Caldwell, even Mr. Johnson, he taught us, and Miss Clark, which she's not Clark anymore, but there were so many. Oh, Miss Talton. There's so many. And the reason why we love them, because none of them were easy. None of them were easy. We loved them because they took their role as being the mamas and daddies away from home seriously. And they loved us just like that. They got on to us and they loved us. They looked at it. It was beyond the walls. That's the only way I can kind of say it is their love went beyond the walls of that school, and it went out into the community. You went to school with their kids, and, you know, it was just important. It was just such a great place to grow up. You know, you could do things at night around town, which is what we did. And, you know, mom and daddy, they'd get a call, you know, before you even got home, and somebody had told them what they thought you were doing. And as a kid, you could say that's terrible and I hate this small town, but no, when people say it takes a village, you have to really let it take a village to mold your children. And so that's how we grew up. We grew up with other people molding us, and I just think that's so important. And you know, my parents did too. When they weren't there, somebody was. And it just always meant more than wins and losses. When you're older and you're talking about things, you don't always remember the score, and you don't always remember the wins or the losses. It's the everything in between. It's the bus rides to away games. It's your coaches and your conversations. It is getting fussed out by your coaches like terribly, and hating it at the moment and laughing about it a month or a year or 10 years later. And it's part of growing up. So it so much meant to me. Tradition is just huge. Like I said, grew up just looking through those yearbooks and just not being able to wait to get there and be a part of what I had heard my mama and daddy talk about for, so long. My husband went to school there, and, he didn't have the greatest football season his senior year, but he's still friends with the guys that he played with, and their memories go far beyond the scoreboard. And so it's a small town, and you can say that you hate it because it's a small town, but also there's so much love in this small town, and I wish that I could go back and let some of the coaches and teachers know just how much they kind of meant to me, and you just don't realize it until later in life, how much that they do. And so it's just a great place. It's such a good place for your kids to grow up. And like I said, it's about investing and not wanting to be anybody else, just wanting to be Dadeville. And I just hope that everybody who's here can find their place and find their people. I just think that's so important, and find their people and get out there and go to football games, go to basketball games, go to McKelvey Park and watch these babies play, and get to know the actual community and love it for what it is. But anyway, I ramble, but like I said, that's why it was hard for me to make this video, because I really didn't even know where to start and what to put in there. But like my brother said, a family legacy, and I don't think that we think that we're some big to-do family in here. It's just that I think we've all had chances to be somewhere else. And like me, I just don't want to be anywhere else. I want to be here, and I want my kids to be here, and so that's why I love Dadeville.